Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining today's session for the annual Aspire Fall Conference. Today, we are talking about pathways to college and careers through internships and pre-apprenticeships. My name is Gabby Sloss, and I'm a work-based learning and apprenticeship liaison for the secondary post-secondary transitions team here at the Oregon Department of Education, and would like to introduce my colleague here.
Hi, everyone. We're so happy you've joined us today. My name is Eric Juneman. I'm a career-connected learning specialist with the Office of Community Colleges and Workforce Development at the Higher Education Coordinating Commission. Let's talk for a moment about what outcomes we're expecting from this session today. Our goal today is that by the time you leave this session, that you'll have a clear definition of internship and pre-apprenticeship as they're used in Oregon. That you'll have a deeper understanding of the role that internships and pre-apprenticeships can play in pathways into post-secondary opportunities. And we're looking at post-secondary opportunities broadly, as you'll see listed there. Thirdly, we're hoping today that you'll be able to identify and have kind of a list going about school level and community level resources that could help you better support students in finding pre-apprenticeship and internship opportunities, as well as some statewide resources that we'll share with you that you'll be able to use and important to you.
So today I wanted to share with you a graphic. This is from the National Governors Association and the Loosely Group. And yes, it identifies multiple career pathways that you might be familiar with here. And we do recognize that this does not identify certain populations or take into consideration certain populations, and is leaving out other post-secondary opportunities like the military. However, this is a good starting point and reference for today's conversation, in that with internships and pre-apprenticeships, these are vehicles to getting on certain career paths or identifying certain career paths and education pathways for learners as they start trying to identify what they would like to do when they grow up, as most of us do. So today, we really want to talk about how internships and pre-apprenticeships are those vehicles out of certain options in our arsenal to help learners and students identify what they want to do, how they're going to get there, and what they want to do when they grow up. And Eric will start us off by talking about internships and the definition of those here in the state of Oregon. Eric?
Great, thanks, Gabby. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that understanding of the definitions of internships and pre-apprenticeships. When we're looking at internships, a few things I want to draw your attention to on this slide. Yes, there's usually some sort of set duration. That might be the common summer internship. It might also occur during the school year, but there's a start and end date associated with an internship. Might be part-time, might be full-time. And we always encourage and like to see paid opportunities for students, but sometimes internships are unpaid. Key thing we want to point out here in our definition of internships is that there's a connection to an educational program of some capacity. So this is where we're really looking at that link between the classroom and the workplace. And also in that link between the classroom and the workplace, that internship experience in our definition is usually for academic credit. So what does the Oregon Bureau of Labor and Industry say about internships? This is wholly in following federal regulations around child labor laws. A few things we want to point out here. I think key is number 2 here. That trainee or that intern, this experience is for the primary benefit of that person, of that trainee or student. It's not for primary benefit of the employer. So think about that learning component there and that training component. Interns can't displace regular employees. And the employer, according to Foley, would need to understand that the intern's not there to kind of create a workplace advantage for that employer. It's about the learning and training opportunities for that student. And then, unfortunately, for our students, we would like them all to take that internship right into a current or future opportunity for paid employment, but they're not entitled to that. And also, number 6, they're not entitled to pay. So paid internships are certainly a preference.
And pre-apprenticeship, I really want to highlight that these programs have been designed to help learners build the necessary skills to meet the minimum entry qualifications to enter a trade or a registered apprenticeship program. Many of you might be in this boat where we don't know that much about the trades or registered apprenticeship and want to get some preparation before entering or maybe meeting those minimum qualifications for getting into a program. And so much like applying for college, for a job, we need to work on that portfolio, if you will, or that resume on making sure that students or learners are able to meet those minimum qualifications. And really that's what a pre-apprenticeship program does. By offering math and reading training, base introduction to hand and power tools, in addition to learning more about different occupations, worksite field trips and guest speakers, completion of GED or high school diploma. Many programs will help people get their driver's license, or if they have some issues with their driver's license and need to get it back, the programs can help with that. Especially in our high school programs, we see that getting driver's ed or obtaining your driver's license is an option, and so that's an added benefit. And many programs offer job placement, enrollment, and other supportive services, whether it is within registered apprenticeship in the trades, or again, just like mentioned earlier, career portfolio to get into a job or to college or the military. And we quickly wanted to provide a definition of registered apprenticeship for you all, and also show this video that was recently done by the Oregon Apprenticeship Agency core team to help people understand what registered apprenticeship is, as it is a training model that combines paid, structured on-the-job training with accredited classroom instruction.
We mentioned earlier in thinking about the roles that pre-apprenticeships and internships can play into post-secondary pathways. One of those benefits being that students can make that link between the classroom and the professional environment. They're gaining exposure to a chosen field that they're going into, or they're getting a chance to kind of do a little test driving and learn that maybe through that internship, that's not a field they want to go into. That can be a good outcome as well. And then the networking connections are really critical here. So even though there's no guarantee that an internship leads to a job offer, as we saw in the Foley slide, students are still getting that chance to make those professional connections with people who can write them letters of recommendation. It may lead to future employment opportunities, may be helpful for scholarships for post-secondary education. So those networking connections are really critical there. And then finally, that gaining work experience, which probably goes without saying, but students are getting real-world work experience that they can add to their resumes, which can then benefit them in a number of different ways. So pause for a quick second here, though, and think about, in your experience, how else have you seen students benefit from an internship? I believe there are other ways as well. So take a moment and jot down some other ideas. Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to Gabby.
Great, thanks, Eric. And benefits of pre-apprenticeship, as you saw in that video, there were many. However, just to share again, it is an introduction to the trades. It's an opportunity to obtain education and career training. In addition, learners can gain credentials and skills while building a career portfolio, whether it is for a registered apprenticeship or trades, or moving on into community college, university, military, or even work experience. And again, talking mostly around this is a pathway into earning living wages and an education. And for some of the resources today that we looked at, most of them you can find at the Oregon Apprenticeship website. Just a quick caveat that this is a new website that we're hoping will be launched by the time you view this video, or at least by the time we all come back together later this month for a panel regarding college and career pathways. And the Oregon Bureau of Labor and Industries website, this is a place where you can locate pre-apprenticeship programs, registered apprenticeship programs, and it's also a place for learning about standards, the schedule of the Oregon State Apprenticeship and Training Council meetings, and also looking at those who have registered pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship programs. In addition, there are 13 local community colleges that have apprenticeship coordinators or directors who could be of service for you and your students. And they will know more about programs in your area and how to get in contact with them. Then also, furthermore, there's Eric and myself who can be resources for you all. So we have our contact information at the end of this presentation. So feel free to email us or contact us at any time. And Eric, did you want to point out the internship resources from the state?
Sure, yes. So you'll see a couple of links there on the bottom. One is to the Oregon Department of Education's work-based learning homepage, which you'll find is also undergoing some maintenance right now. You'll find a live page, but it should have some updated information soon as Gabby and I work on implementation of the career technical education new Oregon State plan. So there'll be some resources for work-based learning there. And also something to consider is the Oregon Open Learning and the Oregon Open Educational Resource Commons. These are spaces where educators share curriculum ideas, lesson plans, resources that can be supportive and are available to everyone around topics like career planning and work-based learning, and confident you'll find some internship or pre-apprenticeship resources in that space as well. All right. So as we wrap up today, we're hoping that you've gained a better definition of pre-apprenticeships and internships as we define them in Oregon. You've had a chance to consider how internships and pre-apprenticeships can serve as pathways into post-secondary. And that also we shared some state level resources with you that can help you in supporting students in gaining access to these opportunities. And now we're going to ask you in closing to kind of pause for a moment and to do a little quick reflection and writing activity. Take as long as you need to do this. And we're asking you to think about mapping some assets to start with in that first question. What are those resources out there, the people, the programs at your school, in your local community that can help you better assist students in finding and succeeding in internships or pre-apprenticeships? We also want you to think about what are the gaps? What are the resource gaps or the things that act as barriers to you supporting students in finding and succeeding in internships or pre-apprenticeships? And then thirdly, what are your ideas for how those gaps could be addressed? So as mentioned, take a few minutes and write down some ideas you have to those three questions. And then please join us September 25th at the Aspire conference. We'll have a panel presentation where we'll continue this conversation. You can bring your remaining questions and the ideas you've come up with as well. And let's discuss them on September 25th. So thank you so much for joining us today. We hope you've learned something useful, and we look forward to seeing you again on September 25th.